This video is going to be about the differences that I've seen between America, and I've been here for a week now. I'm going to be here for another 2 weeks, and Europe, specifically Switzerland, where I lived, and probably I'm going to live for a long time in my life. Now, the main thing that I want to talk about is just how crazy the difference in food is. I'm not talking now. I don't want to talk about like very specific niche pointless stuff like the sizes or servings or prices, although they are different in America. They are cheaper than, at least compared to Switzerland, because Switzerland is expensive. But stuff like chemicals and health when it comes to food is just so unbelievably worse in America. I have this app called Yuka, Yuka, and I heavily recommend you download it if you're watching this. And what it basically does is you can scan the barcode of any product, food or like healthcare product, and it tells you from a score of 0 to 100 how good it is, how many chemicals, how much sugar, how many calories and stuff like that. And in Switzerland, you will have to watch out, maybe choose one or two different ones than you usually take. Maybe some iced teas a bit better, some brands are a bit better than others. And then you have the usual very known bad ones like Coca-Cola and then all the candy and stuff. But in America, I was just earlier at the grocery store to buy some snacks to eat. And I scanned specifically 38 things, 38 different snacks like chips, sweets, candy, stuff like that. 36 of them had dangerously estrogenic chemicals in them. 36 of them. I scanned 38, 36 of them were horrible. I couldn't even eat them. Like, I was running out of things to buy because there was no snacks that didn't have some kind of chemical that was illegal in Europe. Illegal, by the way. I also read that in the book Estrogeneration. Chemicals like red number 40, they're completely illegal in Europe because of just how bad they are. And in America, they're basically everywhere. And it's absolutely an estrogenic product. And it basically turns any man into a woman. Like, if you eat enough of it, it's basically going to ruin your testosterone, ruin all your muscle recovery. Any training that you're doing is going to be heavily, heavily punished by the things you're eating. And even my cousin told me when he went to live to Macedonia for a few weeks, and then he came back to America because he does wrestling. He was kicking everyone's ass in wrestling for the first few days that he was here. And then he started eating like he usually ate over here. And then he went right back to his usual tempo. And that's also a way to highlight the difference between these two foods. When I came here a few days ago, maybe a week ago, I was all right. After the first day, because we worked out really hard, I was super sore, but I'm already starting to recover. But if I hadn't like watched out to what I'm eating, and I did eat a few things that weren't that good, honestly, but if I kept eating and I keep eating this bullshit estrogenic, basically turning me into a woman food stuff, then I would never become better as a physically and mentally, because of course everything you eat has an impact on your mental state. And any physical action that you do is heavily, heavily punished by any chemical you eat, because not only does it use up resources to digest, but on top of that, it just hurts it because it's chemicals, and whatever you digest goes into most of your body because you have blood if you're a human. And on top of that, it hurts with the mental stuff. So not only estrogen, if you don't know this, testosterone is for men. That's pretty much the only difference between men and women is the hormones. and the genitals. And men have testosterone and women have estrogen. Now, women have very low testosterone for obvious reasons because they're not men, and men have very low estrogen. However, men have I'm pretty sure every single part of the male body has estrogen receptors. And when you eat estrogenic stuff like that, of course it's going to get triggers and it's going to trigger the estrogen receptors. It's going to affect the whole body and it's going to affect recovery and it's going to affect performance if you do fitness or any kind of physical workout. And it's going to affect any kind of mental state and mental workout. And this was only the stuff that I was able to scan, that I was able to check. I couldn't really check the meat products. I can't really check stuff like fast food, like In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out, but I'm starting to doubt it. Like Subway is, I don't know if it's known to be horrible, but everyone knows it has like dog shit chemicals that is found in training mats and yoga mats and all that stuff. So I'm just trying to highlight the differences in food products between Europe and America and how in Europe all these or most of these chemicals are illegal. And in America they're found basically everywhere because of how harmful they are. But what kind of advantage it gives to any kind of company that uses them. Because if a brand of candy uses them and the exact same, another brand with the exact same candy doesn't use them, the one that uses them is probably going to win because it's more addictive, it tastes better probably, and it's going to have a bunch of other advantages that people don't care, that people actually care about, because people care more about taste than health here in America, at least what I've seen. Especially my cousin, I was showing him all the scans, like how like 80% of everything I scanned was a 0 out of 100, and that's pretty fucking rare in Europe. And he just didn't care. And I mean, I'm not gonna force anyone to get better in health, but that's absolutely something you should take in mind, that basically every single piece of candy you eat here in America, or basically anything you eat here in America, if you don't double check it, the chances of it having some kind of chemical, it might be very harmful a bit or not harmful at all, but the chances of having chemical are basically 100%. Because of and because of all the things I scanned, all of them had chemicals, every single one of them. But just the 36 of them actually had bad ones that were actually considered estrogenic and stuff that can actually impact mental states, recovery, and testosterone, and basically everything else that you could see in the male body.